Um, Hello everyone, my name is Angel Rodriguez, and today I'll be presenting my recommendation report titled Most Fuel Efficient Engine Type for Cars. In this presentation, I will walk you through a detailed comparison of internal combustion engines, hybrid engines, and electric engines. These three engine types make up nearly all the vehicle options available for consumers today. By the end of by the end, my goal is to clearly show which engine provides the best combination of energy efficiency, environmental responsibility, and long-term sustainability and cost effectiveness. This is the result of a full technical research report I prepared for my professional communications class at Texas A&M University of Kingsville, and I look forward to explaining these findings in a clear and accessible way. Why this topic matters. Uh, Transportation plays a major role in modern society. It moves goods, people, and information every single day, yet it also carries significant environmental consequences. Transportation is responsible for about 25% of all global uh, carbon dioxide emissions, according to the International Energy Agency. What's even more important is that 95% of these emissions come from gasoline, diesel power engines, and in other words, the type of engine we choose isn't just a personal choice, it's a global consequence. Consumers are also feeling the pressure through rising fuel prices, unpredictable gas markets, and increased awareness of climate change. At the same time, manufacturers and policymakers are shifting towards cleaner and more sustainable technologies for vehicles. So this topic matters because it affects the environment, your wallet, and the direction of the entire automotive industry. Understanding how each engine type performs will help people make better vehicle decisions today and in the future. Purpose of the report. Uh, the purpose of my report was to compare three major vehicle engine types: internal combustion engines, hybrid engines, electric engine type vehicles, to evaluate them fairly using four criteria: energy efficiency, which tells us how much of the stored energy actually becomes movement instead of being wasted; energy impact, this includes environmental impact, my bad. Environmental impact, this includes emissions released while driving and the environmental footprint during manufacturing and disposal; economic practicality, not just the purchase price, but like long-term operating costs, including fuel or electricity maintenance; long-term sustainability, whether the technology is compatible with future energy sources or long-term climate goals. By the end, I provide a clear and base recommendation of which engine type is the best option moving forward. Okay. Internal combustion engine overview. Internal combustion engines are the traditional engines that run on gasoline. They have been a dominant choice for more than a century. However, despite their popularity, they're actually very inefficient engines. They only convert about 25% of the fuel's energy into movement. That means up to like 75 of the energy is wasted, mostly as heat and friction. These engines are also produce a wide range of emissions, including carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxides, and carbon monoxide. These pollutants contribute to climate change and have harmful health impacts. On the positive side, gasoline engines do have strengths. They are the cheapest to buy upfront. They can be refilled quickly anywhere, and they are easy to repair because the technology is familiar to most of us. But they also have major weaknesses. One of them, as previously mentioned, is the very high emissions, high long-term maintenance cost, and complete dependence of fossil fuels which are not renewable. These issues make them less practical for long-term sustainability. Hybrid engine overview. Hybrid engines combine a traditional gasoline engine with an electric motor. This combination allows the vehicle to switch between power sources depending on the driving situation. For example, hybrids typically use an electric motor during slow or city driving, which saves fuel. They also use regenerative braking, which captures energy when the car slows and stores it for later use. Hybrids offer several advantages. They improve fuel economy, they reduce emissions compared to gas-only cars, and they offer a smoother acceleration because of the electric motor. However, hybrids still have limitations since they still burn gasoline, so they can never reach zero emissions. Their dual systems, both the engine and electric components, make them highly complex, which often leads to higher repair costs. Hybrids represent a meaningful improvement, but they are only a partial solution because they still heavily rely on fossil fuels. Electric vehicle overview. Electric vehicles, or EVs, represent the newest version of major engine technology. Instead of gasoline, they run entirely on electricity stored in large battery packs. One of the biggest advantages of the electric vehicle engine is their efficiency. Electric motors convert 85 to 90% of electrical energy into motion, which is far more efficient than gasoline engines. Another major benefit is emissions. Electrical engine vehicles produce zero tailpipe emissions, meaning they do not release greenhouse gases while driving. Over their full lifetime, including manufacturing and charging, they still produce significantly fewer emissions than gas-powered vehicles. Also, to add to that, I think the only time they do produce any emissions is during their manufacturing, which is pretty interesting. Electric engine vehicles also require significantly less maintenance because they have fewer moving parts, no oil changes, and no mufflers, no spark plugs. However, electric engine vehicles also have challenges. Their upfront cost is higher than all of the other ones. Charging access varies depending on where you live, and battery production does create some environmental impacts, as I said before. Despite these challenges, electrical engine vehicles remain the most promising long-term solution. Energy efficient comparison. Energy efficiency is one of the most important comparisons because it directly affects fuel cost and environmental impact. Internal combustion engines are the least efficient. Much of the energy in gasoline never reaches the wheels because it loses it as heat. Hybrid vehicles do better by using electric assistance, but they still rely on gasoline part of the time. Electric vehicles are the clear winner for this one. They waste very little energy because of the electric motors are inherently more efficient than combustion engines. And this means the driver gets more power for less energy, which saves money and reduces environmental damage. Overall, when it comes to energy efficiency, electric engine vehicles stand at the top, hybrids come a close second, and internal combustion engines come last. Environmental impact comparison. When examining environmental impact, internal combustion engines again perform the worst. They release the highest level of greenhouse gases. Hybrids improve significantly by reducing the amount of gasoline burned, but they still produce emissions. And electric vehicles eliminate the tailpipe emissions entirely. Even when you include the emissions from electricity production and battery manufacturing, they still produce 40 to 60% fewer total lifetime emissions over 10 years compared to gasoline or hybrid vehicles. These make electric engine vehicles mostly environmental friendly option across nearly every measurement. Economic practicality comparison. When we consider economic practicality, it's important to look beyond the purchase price. While internal combustion cars are often cheapest upfront, their long-term costs are the highest due to fossil fuel prices, oil changes, and ongoing mechanical repairs. Hybrids fall in the middle. They offer better fuel savings, but the complexity of them can lead to some costly repairs at times. Electric vehicles cost more upfront, but they save money in the long run. Electricity is cheaper than gasoline, and electric vehicle engines require less maintenance over a vehicle's lifetime. They tend to be the most cost-effective option. This means that while electric engine vehicle types may require a larger initial investment, I believe their total cost of ownership is typically the lowest. Long-term sustainability. Sustainability is a major factor when planning for the future of transportation. Internal combustion engines are not sustainable because they do depend entirely on the fossil fuels, and as these fossil fuels become more scarce and more expensive, internal combustion engines vehicles will become less practical since fossil fuels are not renewable. Hybrids are somewhat sustainable because they reduce gasoline dependence, but they still rely on fossil fuels. And electric engine vehicles are the most sustainable option, as renewable energy sources like wind and solar continue to expand. The electricity used to charge electrical engine vehicles becomes cleaner every year. This means naturally they will become more environmentally friendly over time. And in terms of long-term compatibility with future technology, they clearly stand to have the greatest potential overall. So, final comparison. When we look across all four evaluation criteria, energy efficiency, environmental impact, economic practicality, sustainability, the results become very clear. Electric engine type vehicles outperform hybrid and internal combustion engines in every major category. Hybrids offer a strong transitional option for people who cannot yet rely on charging stations, but they can not fully eliminate emissions. Internal combustion engines, while they still widely used, offer the lowest long-term benefits and the highest environmental and economic costs. In short, the data shows that electric vehicles are the best engine and technology moving forward. Recommendations. Based on the full analysis, I recommend choosing electric vehicles whenever charging access is available. They offer the best performance, the lowest emissions, and the lowest lifetime costs. For individuals who may not have consistent access to charging, such as renters or rural drivers, hybrids offer a good alternative, providing improved fuel efficiency and lower emissions compared to gasoline cars. Internal combustion engines should slowly be phased out as the cleaner technologies become more accessible. Finally, policymakers and manufacturers should try to expand the charging infrastructure and support the growth of renewable energy sources to make the electric engine vehicle types adoption easier and more practical for everyone. In conclusion, electric vehicles provide the highest combination of efficiency, environmental protection, economic benefits, sustainability. Hybrids offer partial improvements, but cannot fully eliminate emissions. Internal combustion engines, although historically significant, are outdated for future transportational needs. As technology improves and charging becomes more available, electric vehicles represent the future of sustainable transportation. They provide the best long-term solution for drivers, communities, and the environment. This is my works cited page. This presentation is based entirely on a peer review research and credible industry sources, which include engineering studies on energy efficiency, life cycle assessments of emissions, and industry data on cost and sustainability. All references are listed and match the citations included in the original recommendation report. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation. I hope this helps clarify the strengths and weaknesses of internal combustion, hybrid, and electric engines. I would be happy to answer any questions, discuss any of this parts analysis, and explain how the research supports these recommendations. Thank you.